"Sir, please don't leave." The young mother's voice trembled inside the pharmacy as she held her sick little boy tightly in her arms. But the old security guard simply smiled, paid for the medicine with the last cash in his wallet, and quietly walked back out into the rain. What he didn't know was that someone inside a black SUV across the street had been watching everything. Walter Harris had spent most of his life being invisible. At 62 years old, he worked night shifts as a security guard outside a small grocery store in a quiet American town. Every night looked the same: cold coffee, aching knees, and long hours watching empty parking lots. People walked past him every day without noticing him. To most customers, Walter was just the old man by the front door. But despite his difficult life, Walter had always believed in one thing: if you can help someone, you help them, even if it hurts. That rainy night, Walter had stopped by a pharmacy after work because his back pain was becoming unbearable. He grabbed the cheapest pain medication he could find and slowly made his way to the counter. That's when he heard the argument. A young mother stood there desperately searching through her purse while holding a weak little boy against her shoulder. The child's face was pale, and his small body trembled with fever. "Please," the woman begged. "My son has been sick all night. I'm short $30. I can bring it tomorrow." The pharmacist looked uncomfortable but shook his head. "I'm sorry, ma'am. Store policy." The woman's eyes filled with tears. Walter quietly watched from behind. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his old wallet. Inside was just enough money for gas, groceries, and maybe breakfast the next morning. For a moment, he stared at the bills in silence. Then he stepped forward. "I'll pay for it." The woman looked shocked. "No, sir. I can't ask you to do that." Walter gave a tired smile. "You didn't ask." He handed the money to the pharmacist and picked up the medicine bag. The little boy looked up at him weakly. "Thank you." Walter gently patted the boy's shoulder before walking back outside into the heavy rain. Across the street, headlights glowed softly through the storm. A black SUV remained parked there, its engine running quietly. Inside, a man in an expensive suit lowered his phone slowly after recording the entire moment. 3 days later, Walter woke up to the sound of tires crunching outside his small house. He frowned and looked out the window. The same black SUV was parked directly in front of his porch. Walter immediately felt nervous. People like that didn't come to neighborhoods like his. 2 men stepped out wearing black suits and walked toward his front door. A loud knock echoed through the house. Walter opened the door carefully. "Mr. Walter Harris?" one of the men asked politely. Walter nodded slowly. Then the SUV door opened again. The young mother from the pharmacy stepped out holding her son's hand. But this time, everything about her looked different. Elegant coat, diamond earrings, luxury handbag. Walter stared in confusion. The woman smiled emotionally. "My name is Emily Carter," she said softly. "And you saved my son." Walter shook his head awkwardly. "No, I just bought medicine." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "You have no idea what that meant to us." She explained that her husband owned one of the largest private medical companies in the state. Days earlier, their bank accounts had temporarily been frozen during a legal dispute involving the company. That night at the pharmacy, she had no cash, no working credit cards, and nobody willing to help. Nobody except Walter, a complete stranger. Emily reached into her purse and handed Walter a white envelope. "I know you weren't expecting anything," she said, "but my husband and I believe good people deserve kindness too." Walter slowly opened the envelope. His hands immediately began trembling. Inside was a certified check worth more money than Walter had seen in his entire life. Enough to pay off his home. Enough to cover his medical bills. Enough to finally retire. Walter looked up in shock. I can't take this." Emily smiled warmly. "Yes, you can." Tears filled Walter's tired eyes. For years, he had struggled alone, working late nights, skipping meals, ignoring pain, feeling forgotten by the world. And now, because of one small act of kindness, everything had changed. A few weeks later, Walter no longer worked security shifts at the grocery store, but every Saturday morning, he still visited the same pharmacy. Not for himself, for others. Whenever he saw someone struggling to pay for medicine, Walter quietly stepped forward and covered the bill before walking away. One afternoon, the pharmacist finally asked him, "Why do you keep doing this?" Walter smiled gently as sunlight shined through the pharmacy windows. "Because sometimes," he said quietly, "people just need someone to care." At that exact moment, a familiar black SUV slowly passed by outside. A little boy leaned out the window, smiling excitedly. "Bye, Walter." Walter waved back with watery eyes and a warm smile. And for the first time in a very long time, he no longer felt invisible. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe for more emotional stories like Thithis.